our students virtually using our iPad devices, which will start to be distributed next week. Remember, this is going to get really messy. It is okay to make mistakes along the way as we venture into this new journey of remote learning. This does not need to be perfect. Actually, it would help tremendously if we drop the image of perfection altogether. We're all in this together. Effort is going to be the key to reaching our students.
Research shows that the classroom teacher has the most direct impact on student achievement. That's why we'll be training most of you, all of you, hopefully, next week. Under our current circumstances, it's important that the students have FaceTime or at least voice time with their classroom teacher. We know that they adore you. And as we continue, we will recognize that there is a digital divide that affects our community and many of the other communities here in Arizona. Our executive team is trying to address that gap along with many other districts. And we know that remote learning can never replace the regular classroom learning experience that you create for our students at school. It is online learning, and we have to recognize that it will be different.
I want to emphasize RSD is not requiring students to sit in front of their iPads watching lectures for 6 hours a day during remote learning. Instead, the expectation is that all teachers log in virtually on a daily basis to connect with their students. The first week will be about building relationships again and providing time for your students to get familiar with the online tools. That's going to be really essential. With time, instruction in mathematics, reading, writing, and social sciences can take place, but assignments will look really different. Daily office hours where teachers are available by phone will be important to connect with students for support. There will be a 1 week of online training next week before we connect with our students, and our departments will go above and beyond to give you the necessary tools to be successful.
During that training, when we refer to daily instruction, not all of it needs to be virtual. There will be times when students need to work independently offline. As we empathize with students who might not have a family member to help them with instruction at home, we encourage you to be creative with your teaching. Sometimes instruction might occur through a recorded clips video or explaining a project, through a keynote presentation sent to students with recorded audio instructions. For those students who don't have internet access at this time, there might be a need to set up a schedule to FaceTime with those students and their families, or to call them by phone. We encourage you to continue to think outside the box when you're delivering those lessons. Furthermore, to guarantee equitable access to the curriculum, we ask that you focus all of your efforts around the learning standards that are reflected in the student work package that we distributed.
Like we said, many of you have already started being innovative over the last 3 weeks. We encourage you to continue to think that way. Using a balance between online and offline resources is going to be essential. Connecting with students during scheduled office hours using Zoom or telephone is imperative. Students being able to see their teachers again and possibly other classmates virtually during a designated office hour will provide a sense of comfort for our learners. Although attendance is mandatory, the classroom teacher should reach out, although attendance is not mandatory, the classroom teacher should reach out to each student at least once on a weekly basis to ensure each student has the necessary materials for learning. Remember to encourage all of your students to attend your Zoom sessions at least once during the week to get their questions answered during office hours.
Yeah. And you can also call them in case they do not have their access to Zoom, internet access. Finally, the technology and teaching and learning staff will be available for your support every step of the way. We have forwarded our phones so you can reach us that way. Daily, we also will have office hours from 2 to 3 o'clock. Dr. Ramos and his technology team and myself and our curriculum team will be available for you. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to us by email or again by phone. Thank you so much for sharing in this journey with us. We appreciate your contribution to the students in Roosevelt School District number 66, #BeBold.
Remember, this does not have to look perfect. This is going to get real messy. Expect that to happen. It is okay to make mistakes, and we leverage these mishaps as learning opportunities in our professional practices. Right now, the emphasis is on building relationships and getting familiar with the online tools. This will evolve over time where we can move into focusing on academic content. Be empathetic and compassionate during this process. A great prerequisite is to be extra kind to yourself and your students, as this is a new adventure for everyone. And of course, we are all in this journey together. Let's be bold, Roosevelt School District number 66.
Yeah. So we know that you all probably have a lot of questions. We wanted to just give you some information up front. There is a chat option, and as you submit your questions through chat, Melissa Kreider is managing that for us. So we may not have time to answer all of the questions, or there might be questions that we have to research and think about before we answer publicly. If you received our emails, we are sending a frequently asked questions regularly with answers to those questions. So if we don't have time to answer those questions for you today during this Zoom opportunity, then we'll make sure we capture those and get you answers, and that'll be the way that we'll answer them, will be through that frequently asked questions format, okay, through the email. So Melissa, do you see the questions being sent to us?
I do, yes. And I think the first one that you could maybe address is talking about reaching out to students and families, best practices, and also kind of what your expectation is for them.
Okay, so we would like you to use, we would like you to use the Google phone. I sent information on how to create a Google phone number. That Google phone number is not your own phone number. So that's a very safe way for you to be able to communicate with your student. Of course, there are more safe ways to communicate with your students, but given the situation, that's the way that we're requesting that you communicate with them. When you call them, that you use a Google phone number rather than your own personal number. Again, I sent the instructions, I believe, on Wednesday for that. We would expect that you communicate with your students at least once a week. Remember, they adore you, they love you. And even if you don't have anything to say, but you just let them know that you still care about them and love them, that goes a long way. And you could also use that type of communication when kids are not able to access your lessons, your Zoom lessons online. You might give them some guidance on how to move forward through their packet, or some other ideas on what they can do at home to continue to read, to write, to journal, to write maybe their family members that they can't see, their elderly family members or their grandmothers. There's so many relevant ways that they can also continue their learning from home.
Yeah, I would just say, just to make sure that you're like compassionate, make sure that you're empathetic. This is going to be a learning journey for us. So any way that you can possibly reach out to your student, either by phone or online, we strongly encourage that.
Mm-hmm. At least once a week, if not more often.
The next question is, when will the professional development classes be available to sign up?
Sure. As you know, we're trying to manage a lot of things here. So we will have all those classes for next week uploaded by Saturday. We're also developing the professional development opportunities that will occur for the next week, which will be all revolving around our different district initiatives. So it'll revolve around integration of technology, not next week, but the following week, and from now until the close of the summer. We'll have classes that you can participate in for credit for your 301 hours, or just for your own professional learning. But they'll revolve around integration of technology, reading, of course, our reading adoption, our upcoming math adoption, our RSD approach and philosophy towards social emotional learning, and PLCs.
Another question was, Dr. Ramos, maybe more for you, about the partnership with Cox Communication and providing Wi-Fi.
So we do have letters available for principals who, or for parents who needed to prove that they go to the Roosevelt School District. And so your principals have access to those. letters. And so if there's a student that needs access, please let your principal know so that way that letter can be delivered. But Cox does have a Excel document with all of our students and their residences. So that way there's proof that the student does attend the Roosevelt School District with that letter.
One of the challenges involves families who do not have Social Security numbers. So that's one of the big challenges that our district is working with other districts and other entities to try to address. So we don't have an answer to that digital divide right now. We know it's plaguing the entire state, not only our district. So we're trying to figure that out along with our other sister districts and other entities.
So then maybe you can talk a little bit more about how the packets can be used to support students as well.
Yes. So we understand that a packet is not going to replace you. We totally understand that, and that's definitely not the intent of the packet. The packet is an effort that we have made to help students to continue their learning and their practice. The standards that are reflected in those packets are standards that were already included in our, that should have already been hit according to our pacing guides. So that's why we very carefully selected those specific activities. And we'd like you to continue all of your learning efforts around the standards reflected in those packets. So yes, kids who do have access to technology will have an advantage because they'll be able to have more of you, your creativity, you taking the standards of those packets and making them even more available. They'll have access to their iRead, to ST Math, to other practice and review type of district provided platforms. But then also they have access to technology, well, to the whole internet, right? So all kinds of technology. But the packets were designed to at least provide something in the hands of our students who do not have that access, who do not have that benefit. And that brings to light again the big digital divide before us. So what you can do with the packets is call the students, familiarize yourself with the packets, familiarize yourself with the standards that are addressed in those packets, and then start thinking creatively of how through your phone calls you can direct students who do not have access to technology. There might be supplementary activities that you know of, things that they can do at home without the use of technology, with the type of regular supplies and materials that they might have at home. Also, if there's a big demand for activities that they can do at home without technology, and we can deploy out supplies to be distributed along with our breakfast and lunch distribution at schools, we can do that as well. But we're going to depend on you all giving us those ideas and those requests.
I do want to say that next week in the schedule, there's been some very planned, organized times for you to set aside some time to plan for ways that you can put lessons together that are creative, that are supportive, and then also plan some times for you to put together actually minutes where you can reach out to your students. So know that we were very cognizant of that and the need for you to learn something and then have some practice time, putting some lessons together in order to support students. We know that this might be flooding you with a lot of materials, but we want to make sure that you have opportunities to plan as well.
You'll also have, we are going to be supporting our principals with help in creating a schedule and also some more hands on deck to help you have access to materials that you might need to be able to deliver those lessons. Before the school closure, it was spring break, and maybe you didn't have your easels, your poster papers with you and your markers and things that you might need. So we recognize that as well, and we're responding to that by supporting our principals and helping to create some type of a schedule for you to be able to go grab the things that you need that are essential for you to deliver your lessons as well. Okay. Know though that we have to be very careful with that because we're also considering safety, your health, and then also the cleanliness and disinfection of our campuses. So once that schedule comes out, we're going to ask that you stick to that schedule, because it'll be very deliberately created to try to support us with our health and safety concerns as well.
We have a lot of questions about the student iPad devices. Could you maybe talk a little bit more about that?
So tell me exactly what is it that people want to know about the iPad devices?
When they're going to be rolled out for students, if all students will be receiving their iPad, can teachers go back into their classroom to retrieve their iPads?
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Those are great questions. So thank you for that. So I wanted to let you know that our technology department are deployed right now, and they're doing two things this morning. They're going to see how we distribute food in the morning, and they're also going to South Mountain High School to see how they're distributing devices so that way we can learn from them. One of the things that we've done as a strategy is we've worked very cautiously on our end in terms of like organization in order for us to go fast like later on. And so our plan is to use our technology department to go into each school and collect devices from the classroom and get them to one central location. So that way we can go ahead and deliver curbside. And we're developing a schedule right now so that we can use next week to go ahead and determine days for each school, availability, and we'll make sure that we communicate this with the community, but available hours for devices to be picked up. And we're probably going to do like divide the alphabet. So if that way a student that ranges from like A through like F, they will come get their devices first. So that way we don't have everybody coming at the same time. And then we will go with the next portion of the alphabet and have those parents come and get their devices at a different time. So that way we don't have clusters of people coming at the same time. And so all of those things are being taken into account, but we don't want you, the teacher, to feel like you're the person that has to come into the classroom, collect devices and bring them to that central location. Because our job with the governor's orders is to make sure that we keep you safe and that we limit the amount of movement. And so we wanted to make sure that with our essential staff, like the technology staff right now, we're having them go in, collect the devices, put them in order so that way the delivery can go off in a sound way.
So as far as your personal devices are concerned, we'll be working with our principals to schedule times for you to be able to get your own, the things that you need to be able to be successful in teaching your students, your own devices and other supplies and teaching materials, your whatever it is that you need. However, we need to be careful and thoughtful in putting that together so that we focus on your safety and the safety of others first, right? All of your classrooms have already been disinfected, so we're trying to make sure that we limit as much as possible while still meeting our goals of trying to teach our students from a distance. So we just need to be very thoughtful about how we plan that. So just give us a little bit more time. Next week is about your learning, preparing your learning, and be always looking out for the emails that I'll be sending regularly, at least once a week, if not more often, especially right now while we're starting this new journey with you. We'll probably be reaching out to you more often, okay? So please be on the lookout for those schedules.
I also wanted to share with you that next week you're gonna see some new faces because we've recruited some instructors with expertise in different areas. And some of those areas happen to be like Zoom, how to use it effectively and safely, and then also digital citizenship. And so I wanted to make sure that you're aware that some of the faces you've never seen before, but we've been working with them over the last 3 weeks in daily Zoom meetings, just to make sure we're all on the same page, because we want to get you the most up-to-date information from the experts that are out there in the field, like doing this on a daily basis. Of course, we have Apple Melissa, who's been like extraordinary over the course of time. She'll lead some of those courses as well, but we wanted to let you know that we did get her some help. I also wanted to let you know that we are fortunate to be connected with people all over the world. And because this pandemic started in Asia, like we've even been communicating with people in those areas so that way we could learn from them. How did they roll out online learning? What did they do so that way we can replicate some of those practices that were successful? So I want you to know that this plan that came out and that is going to be our newest venture, has been well thought out, and the team has been meeting regularly. We want to do what's best for our teachers, so that way they can transfer that learning over to our students. So feel free to email any one of us, and we'll go ahead and get you the support that you need. We just wanted you to know that we're in this together. We're right there with you. We will be by your side. We've been working diligently. I wanted to let you know that we also have been working with our partners in order to get donations for insurance. And so every one of the iPads that goes out is going to be insured in the case that there's any damage. We're so grateful for our partners that we've had in our community, because we had a high dollar that we had to generate in less than a week. Our business partners came through for us, and we're so excited that that happened. And so the devices will be insured, so that way we can make sure that those devices are ready when we start the school year next July and August.
Yeah. And that was a large dollar amount, more than 40.
It's more than $45,000 that we had to generate from our business partners
Within a week. So yes, we do thank our business partners, and also the hustle that the Innovation and Learning Division had to be able to make sure that those devices are insured, so that as we meet the students' needs right now, we're still in a good place to be able to continue to meet their needs when school starts. And we know that devices might get stolen, they might get broken, things happen, there are children handling them. So we just wanted to be prepared for that very real, in any of our homes, our devices things happen to them. So thank you for generating that money for us.
And I think most importantly, we want to thank you for your patience, because we know that we rolled these learning opportunities out in different phases. There was a primary phase and intermediate, but we're here now in our extended phase, and we're really excited to be here.
There's lots of excitement that the insurance is covered and that the iPads are going home. So congratulations, Dr. Ramos and Dr. Portillo, on that. Can you talk about what the schedule will look like, and how long remote learning will occur?
The schedule, the daily schedule. So as far as, is that what?
I think both. I think both the daily schedule and kind of what the expectation of the last day of school is.
Yeah. So the daily schedule, we are wanting you to have freedom in creating that daily schedule. We are requesting that you consider some things though. One is that you collaborate with your grade level team, especially in departmentalized grades, so that you're not competing with each other. A kid might be required to do a math lesson at the same time that say a ELA lesson is being offered, or a science lesson. So we want to make sure that you are collaborating with each other. Also consider collaboration with your ESS providers, your special ed providers. So we want to make sure that you're collaborating with your resource teacher, and then also other related service providers.
Also your special area teacher as well.
And special area teachers as well, because they might be developing art classes, PE experiences. We want to make sure that you're not competing with each other. So collaboration is going to be key. So especially more than ever right now, PLCs are going to be very important. PLC leaders or grade level leaders can organize Zoom meetings so that you're able to all be on the same page and support each other.
And also wanted you to know that I'm hearing some phenomenal stories. Like there was a PE teacher who online developed like a cardiovascular activity using spatulas and buckets for a drum set. And so we really, really encourage you to be creative in the way that you're designing lessons. But there is going to be a plan that's rolled out, and it's just going to be a model. And it's not to lock you into any system, but there's going to be a daily greeting, and that takes anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes. Yeah. There will also be an hour indicated where math happens, an hour where reading happens, where writing happens, but it's flexible. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, and you'll be able to be informed on how to use that example, that model, more so next week when you participate in the trainings, right? So that's part of the training for next week. But again, we wanted to make sure that you had flexibility, and that you knew that you have space to maneuver that, to change that around to meet the needs of your students. However, you collaborating with each other is going to be critical so that you're not stepping over each other for that time with kids. Also be cognizant that a large number of our students are going to the closest bus stop or to the closest school campus so that they can get food. So please consider that as you're creating your schedules. You don't want to schedule any live sessions during time when you're competing with families getting food. Remember that we are feeding all children up to 18 that live in our communities, whether there are students or not. So a lot of them are going to the schools. They're counting on Roosevelt for food, not just for themselves, but also for their younger siblings that are not school-aged yet. So we don't want to compete with that.
Yeah, how about a highlight to our CNS department? I mean, our food services, they're feeding like 9,000 people a day.
Daily.
So that's pretty impressive. So, I mean, you know, we're being bold in so many areas, and I just wanted to make sure that we highlight all of the necessary resources, because this has been a team effort truly, and we've been learning and sometimes working until we wake up, till we go to bed at night, just to make sure that you have everything that you need. So I just want to make sure that we highlight those resources.
Yeah. And on that note, understanding that we're not perfect either, just like we're not expecting perfection from you, but we do rely on your feedback. So I know I received several emails yesterday in response to the messages that I sent on Wednesday, and today I received emails in response to what I sent last night. So please continue to do that so that I can continue to take that feedback to our teams, and so that we can continue to support you and your principals. By the way, your principals have been knocking it out of the park, working very, very hard on those campuses. So thank you, principals, also for your support.
Mm-hmm.
But we rely on your feedback. We depend on your feedback. We are trying the best we can for you, and recognize that there's absolutely no way that we can provide a perfect delivery of services to you as well, but we're trying to do everything we can to meet your needs. So please continue to communicate what those needs are to us.
And then also, I just wanted to share with you, I think I heard a part of that question was, you know, when does learning stop?
Okay, so,
yeah, so
I'm sorry. So learning will continue through the scheduled last day of school, which was May 20. Oh, I'd have to.
I think it's 22nd.
The calendar is
22nd.
right there.
It's the 22nd.
Okay, the 22nd. Then we will go directly into a virtual platform for our Teacher Academy. Remember, we had our Teacher Academy planned for the week right after school ended and into the next week, right? That is a paid opportunity for our teachers to be able to participate in professional development, because it's after your contract has ended. Those classes are not on Go Sign Me Up yet, but we're developing them and moving away from in-person classes, and now trying to find instruction and content that will work in a virtual type of environment. So right after school ends on May 22nd, then your school, your Teacher Academy will start. After your Teacher Academy starts, then students, summer school starts, and summer school is also going to be virtual. So we're now shifting all of our planning away from what we had already started to plan and create contracts with different vendors, and we're working now towards creating an online virtual environment also for our summer school.
I do want to say this, so that way everybody's on the same page. We are going to try to get the devices back from parents on May 15th. So that way we can go ahead and get them prepared for the next school year. So yeah, so May 15th is when the target date for collection of devices from families. And that'll also give us ample opportunity to collect devices in the community if we need to.
Yeah, and then also to prep them for summer school, not only learning for next school year, but also for summer school.
Yeah. I also want to let you know that we have some security on the devices as well. So, you know, we actually have the device secured in a way that we could shut it down if we need to and put a message across it, and we can also locate it by address. So we're pretty excited to have those opportunities by working with Apple. You know, they have indicated how we can do those things to secure the device.
So we've had some questions about the PD for next week. Who can attend, and how will they be able to sign up?
So teachers can sign up through Go Sign Me Up. Also, you will, but to sign up to receive credit for the classes, right? You would go through Go Sign Me Up. To attend the actual class, the classes are open to RSD employees through Zoom. So you would go through Zoom. You'll have your Zoom. If you look at the schedule that was emailed yesterday, you'll see that the schedule has multiple classes offered. And I can send it again today if I heard that some people might not have been included in yesterday's email, but I'll send it again. On that schedule will be the Zoom addresses for all those specific classes that you can attend. So there's a series of classes, I believe a total of 12?
I think there's 11.
11 classes. So you can select. Some of them will very closely repeat, so you don't need to attend all of them, but because it's live, it might change slightly and you might want to attend all of them. There are some that build upon each other. They're differentiated, so there's some classes that are more for a novice learner, for a learner that already knows how to do that particular, the content of that particular course, and then for some that are already more advanced. So you can find the one that best fits your needs, or you might want to watch them all.
So I want to tell you something, that this is pretty innovative. This whole design is really innovative, and a lot of school districts did not put this in place. So many school districts we learned from, they passed out their devices without teaching teachers how to use the tools. And so we're doing something completely different, but we've kind of been doing things really different. We're bold, and we have been training our professionals first, so that way they can use the tools before distribution. And so next week is really outside the box thinking, and we put some really incredible courses together. I do want to let you know this. It works because we already practiced. We had one day of rehearsal where every class was recorded, and we sent the class to each other so that we could critique one another and make sure that the class had the appropriate content and support for teachers. So this is not the first time for us to teach. This is actually going to be a repeat from what we did the first time and what we learned from the feedback. So just wanted to let you know that you're going to see the experts live next week. And if I were you, I probably would take all of the courses, because it's so important to connect with the people in the room and ask these questions. In the room, there's going to be a moderator, just like Melissa is serving as that moderator today. So that way those questions can be answered either live or at a different time. And so that's been built into the classes. We're pretty excited about it. I think you're going to really enjoy learning about Seesaw, Zoom, digital citizenship, how to use video and camera, and all of the tools that come with that. And then, of course, know that we're going to be available for you. We want to make sure that we have office hours where you can Zoom with us and ask us questions virtually, so that way you can get your questions answered. So this is pretty exciting for me. I think, my goodness, I had the opportunity to work with the staff that's doing an incredible job, and we're about to lift off.
Yeah. Also, each one of those sessions will be recorded so that you could watch them. If you're not able to watch it live at that moment, you can still watch it or refer back to it. Should you, sometimes when I watch something the first time, I need to be able to watch it a couple of times, especially as I'm practicing and playing around with building my own efficacy and what it is that I just learned. So again, next week's PD is, we hope that it's of great value to you. We've put quite a bit of time into developing it, but we're developing it for you, and we're trying to be as bold as we can, because we know we have the best teachers in the state. So we have to make sure that we deliver the best product that we can to you.
Awesome. Any other questions, Melissa, that we might be able to address?
Yeah, maybe just a couple more. So maybe what resources will be provided to help support teachers during this new journey?
Mm-hmm. So again, you'll have professional development next week specifically on technology tools, right? But after next week, you'll continue to receive professional development opportunities. So they'll be offered not throughout the day, because we know you'll need the daytime to be able to create a schedule for your students, right? So you'll be teaching your students, calling your students, spending the majority of your time focused on your students. So what we'll do is we'll create a professional development after next week that is all offered in the afternoon, and then also through recorded sessions. They're thereby you will be able to learn and guide your own learning. Also, we'll have daily office hours, so we're available to you to answer questions with both the tech team and the teaching team, so that we're able to answer whatever questions you come up with. You can always email us and send us questions that way, or requests for additional resources you might need. And be on the lookout for the schedule for your particular school. We'll support your principals in being able to create time where they, and we're trying to make sure we have more people available to support also, are able to help you get the tools that you need at home to be able to teach your students. So if you need markers, if you need chart paper, if you, whatever it is that you need that you may not have at home, we need to create a schedule that focuses on safety first and your well-being and our health, but also that provides you access to those materials that you probably don't have at home.
So I'm going to go ahead and give you like a rundown of some lists of some options for professional development that Dr. Portillo and I have been tossing around. And so some of those happen to be like how to use H&H, the ins and outs, especially the online version. Also, I've activated some of our specialists in, virtual libraries. So I've talked to both Nancy Schwartz as well as Pam Hewlin about providing some virtual library support. Of course, we already mentioned Apple integration. And then, the district has taken on a huge initiative with restorative justice, and that might be an opportunity.
Social emotional learning.
Yeah, social emotional learning. Mm-hmm. And then also, differentiated instruction. There may be a session or two about differentiated instruction, problem-based learning, and then naturally professional learning communities, because that happens to be one of our top 5 initiatives in the Roosevelt PLC School District.
So we've invested in regards to PLC, we know that you need help with the immediacy of meeting your students' needs. So that's why we're providing so much technology support. But we also know that you want to continue your learning as you prepare for next year, and even for this year. So what we've done is as we've canceled some of the activity due to the school closure, we've reallocated that budget and those funds to be able to provide you with remember that we can all see what you guys are doing on your camera unless you turn your camera off. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. But anyway, remember that we are wow, we have some
it's like the Brady Bunch, right?
We have some class clowns. Anyway, thank you for bringing some humor to our session. We reallocated those funds in that budget to be able to provide you other types of professional development opportunities. So we've just purchased, are in the process of purchasing Global PD, which is a solution tree product, so that each of you will be able to have full access to professional learning communities, professional development. You'll also be able to, we've reached out to our vendors for the math adoption that is about to be presented for approval to our board at the next board meeting, both the Pearson product and the Carnegie product for our upper grade math. We reached out to them so that they can already give you access as soon as we have approval right from our board. We want to make sure that you have access so you can start previewing and learning the math adoption. We've reached out to Houghton Mifflin so that they can start developing other types of courses virtually to support you not only in in understanding the reading adoption, but also understanding how reading works. So we are in the process of reaching out to multiple different agencies and just switching and corporations and switching over from a face-to-face type of PD to a virtual PD out of necessity. Also, I think it has created the opportunity for us to really innovate and be able to provide you professional development and support in ways that we maybe wouldn't have pursued as quickly if we weren't put in that situation. Again, I want to emphasize, I said it quietly before, but you are the best teachers in Arizona. You have the talent, the skill, and the heart to support our babies. So,
and I also want to let you know that's why I have been like pushing so robustly to make sure that we get the iPad devices in the hands of your students. because I know that you have the technology and the capacity to provide the best education virtually to our students. And so that's why I've been pushing the entire executive team, let's do this, let's do this. I know that we can. And so they've been extremely supportive throughout the process. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we wanted to let you know also, this is a little bit awkward because Dr. Portillo and I, we really do like each other,
So
but we're also trying to keep that physical distance.
And I think he's a little less than 6 feet away. That's why I keep on, but I want to put my face in the screen still. Really, we do absolutely, we're so proud to lead you and care for you. And I'm so glad to have had this experience, to see your happy faces, your smiling faces on the Zoom. We'll continue to do weekly Zooms so we can support you. You know, we're all in this together. We all love our kids. We've chosen to serve in the community we serve because that's where our heart is. So sorry.
And then also, let's get messy. This is going to be messy. Expect it. We're all working together and leverage those mistakes as learning opportunities. That's kind of my motto. Let's like a ball of yarn.
All right. So we know you have some other questions. I think we have time for about 2 more before we have to head on to our next meeting. The ones that we are not able to answer today, remember that we will capture those and send them to you in our frequently asked questions. And that's it. So you have a couple others to throw our way, Melissa?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, maybe what is our next step for teachers to do when they leave this meeting?
Okay, so when you leave this meeting, take care of yourself and your health, first of all, and your families, right? Then start trying to reach out to your students. If you haven't gotten a hold of some, reach out to them. Please try to capture contact information numbers for us as best you can. Through Synergy, you can look at the other emergency phone numbers and call those. You know, sometimes they have aunts or grandparents or family friends listed. Call them and try to research that phone number so that you can capture it on the log. What we're going to do is we're going to utilize your research in getting the right numbers so that we have the correct numbers when we're sending out district robocalls. So as we send out district robocalls, it's going to the first contact number on Synergy, and that some people, they just haven't updated their number. So we're really relying on you to help us get the right numbers. But I would say rest, focus on your own health, your physical health, and then also your emotional health. Try to contact the kids and get ready for a great week of learning. By tomorrow, if not earlier, if not today, by tomorrow morning, you'll be able to sign up on Go Sign Me Up. You'll get another copy of the schedule. So you might want to be just familiar with what classes you want to sign up for so that when you get onto Zoom, you are able to, you won't have problems on class day. We do have room for 500 participants for each one of those sessions on Zoom. So we've already gotten requests from other districts or, you know, some of our even competitors to attend our classes. So what we're doing is we're asking that you use your Zoom account that we sent. You should have received an email with a Zoom account that has RSD. I see some heads shaking, maybe yes, maybe no. If you haven't, then what we'll do is we'll make sure that that technology resends that same link out again, so that you create the Zoom account that our district has invested in. So we have invested money to pay so that each one of our employees has the Zoom account with the district, your district email, right? So we want to make sure that you use that one. And what we'll be doing is if we start getting full in our classes, we're going to start rejecting people who aren't signing in from the RSD website, because though we do care about all teachers getting good learning to support kids, we prioritize you first, right? You've chosen to serve in this community with us. So anyone can join as long as there's space, but we're really wanting to focus on you. So please try to use that Zoom account that the district has paid for you. And also it's a full account, so you don't have to worry about it running out. It's more secure than the other Zoom accounts that are free.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I will ensure that Nate sends out the link again for those of you that didn't get the first email. We'll go ahead and follow up with another so that way you'll have access to the Zoom accounts.
Okay. Thank you again for being in this journey with us. We look forward to learning with you next week, and then also to our next Zoom call, which was supposed to be every Friday, but remember next Friday is a holiday for our district. So we'll move that Zoom meeting to sometime on Thursday, a time that we're not competing with ourselves for teaching, right? So we'll find a time that fits in for the Zoom meeting, and I'll email you that information.
And then I do have one final message for all of you. I think this is really important to know. You're a part of something very different, something very great. And so I still believe that word of mouth is the greatest form of advertisement. And when you talk about something in a positive way, that permeates. So I have homework for all of you. This is what I would like you to do next. Go out and scream to your neighbor. Don't visit with your neighbor, but scream to your neighbor how wonderful the Roosevelt School District happens to be, that they actually have an organized plan and they put it in place. And they're making sure that everyone is safe and healthy. And go out and share that message so that way that can permeate, because Malcolm Gladwell says that still is the greatest way to advertise, word of mouth. Be bold, Roosevelt School District, and be a part of this great, incredible journey with all of us. We're in this together. Let's have fun. Thank you.
And I want to say that as my eyes welled up, it's of pride and love for all of you and everything that you do for us and our students. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Bye.